So I have just finished my therapy, and this next slew of videos that I want to do is about therapy. But first, I want to dismiss some of the myths of going to therapy. And so the reason I don't want to do that is because, first of all, a lot of cultures have decided to tell their relatives or their children, there's nothing wrong with you. We don't do mental disorders. We don't go to therapy. We don't do that in this household, in this family. We don't go to counselors. We don't go to therapists. We don't go to psychologists. We don't do that. And what ends up happening with a lot of people is because Jesus was not working and they still had to deal with trauma, people tend to get addicted to things to mask their pain. I even said in a previous video, when I decided to go to therapy in the first place, that in my dealing with the last thing that I had to deal with, I was like, oh, let me smoke a cigar. I'm just going to smoke a cigar. And I did go smoke a cigar. And that helped momentarily. And then I said, well, let me go get a massage. Got plenty of massages. Then it was also let me go on vacation. Excuse me. The thing about doing all of those things is that I still had to come back to my own mind after the vacation is over, after the cigar is smoked, after the massage is done. I still had to come back to my own mind, my own thought process, my own overthinking, my own, worst case scenario mindset. And I came back to still being miserable. So, anywho, I want to say this. Television has really, I think, destroyed going to see a therapist, in that I personally didn't want the kind of therapist that sat there with a notebook and took notes. And I've had that type of therapist before. Before I had my daughter, I was in therapy while I was pregnant because I felt, this is a new chapter in my life. These are things that I am having a tough time dealing with. And I want to see someone before I damage my daughter growing inside of me, because my mind was all over the place. And I like my therapist, but in comparison from him to the one I just left, he was a man. The one I just left that I love was a woman. She was a sister. And I know that they're not supposed to divulge a lot of information, but she was also a single mom. So for me, what I realized about therapy is it's okay to date your therapist. What I'm saying by that is not get in a romantic relationship with them, but go on a first date and see if you vibe with that therapist. Okay. See if you like their style of being a therapist. I felt much more comfortable being in a kind of chatty, kikiing environment with my therapist that was a woman. Because if I said certain things as a woman, as a mother, I felt that this woman who was a mother could understand me a lot better than a man. And so, and I've had, in shopping around for therapists, I've dealt with a black male, a white male, and a black woman. And the one that I liked the most was the one like me. I was definitely impressed with the talent and the teaching and the way that the other two did it. I just thoroughly enjoyed my therapy a lot more with a therapist that was more like me. So you can shop around for a therapist. Okay. You don't have to just take the first one you get. I know insurance kind of sucks, and I'm gonna try to say this in as many videos as I can. If you are low income, you can Google cheap therapist and call offices and ask, do they have any students collecting hours or working on their hours for school in their office, and thereby go in at a discounted rate. Okay. Because therapists are expensive. Don't get me wrong. I feel like if you deal with a bunch of people and a lot of problems, you need a vacation or you need to be able to pay for your own therapist. But everybody today, just for the simple fact of how finances are across the board in the U.S., everybody doesn't have $175 for a therapist. So if you can Google cheap therapists near me and then call some offices and see if they have a student in the office, that's how I found my therapist. And her being a student, I don't know if that had anything to do with the reason I enjoyed her more, if she, her humanity wasn't textbooked out of her yet. But I got what I needed for the cost that I could afford, and she was trained and she was professional and she was wonderful. And I wish that she didn't have to go somewhere else after that office, but we had completed what we needed to do. And I also feel like because she wasn't like solid in her office yet as a doctor, that she wasn't trying to stretch out our sessions. Like, we really nailed a lot of things a lot faster than I think I did before. Like, I want to go in and kiki and come out with some tools immediately. Like, it's like having a good conversation with a friend and then they tell you that thing that just made everything better. Like, man, that perspective really set me right. You know, and I even got to the point where I was calling my best friends less, to the point where I was like, oh, I need to call them. I haven't talked to them in a minute, because they were my therapist. It was a venting session, but they didn't have the tools and the education to always. They did a great job. They did every blue moon, definitely. But they just didn't have the tools to take me from 1,000 to 10 in my thinking, because they didn't have the training to do so. And so I didn't have that stuffy environment with the person who had, you know, the collar buttoned all the way up, or the business suit and the notepad and the writing it down. It was actually fun. Today would have been the day that I went, actually. I was always going on a Tuesday. So I miss it. It was a great part of my week. And now I feel like if I go on vacation, I can go on vacation and just enjoy my vacation. I'm not there trying to not think about something, right? Just go enjoy my vacation. If I want to go smoke a cigar, I could just like enjoy smoking a cigar and not try to stop my mind from racing, even though my mind is going to race anyway. Very, very smart. Mine's always going off. But I can go and just enjoy my cigar. If I go get a massage, I can just go and enjoy my massage. So it was really important for me that the mind, body, and soul self-care was covered with the mind part. Okay. And I think we all kind of meditate. Everybody want to do yoga, stuff like that. But really getting some professional help to some traumas put me in a whole other place. Okay. Even things that I used to go off about, I don't anymore, because it's just not that big of a deal. I used to hate the phrase, it is what it is. But I've learned that a lot of me not being happy with that phrase was me feeling like, oh, I needed to control this situation. I needed to do X, Y, and Z to make this thing happen. But that has nothing to do with me. A lot of the things that were stressing me out just simply had nothing to do with me. And getting that perspective again from a professional was one of the best things that I ever did. So this message is not just for African Americans who grew up in a household with people saying we don't go to therapy. This is for any culture whose generations taught you that there's no such thing as mental illness. There's no such thing as depression. There's no such thing as feeling bad, that your religion should fix everything you have going on with you, that you don't see therapists, that we're not weak. We don't go to counselors. Fuck all of that. When I tell you guys, this is one of the best things I've ever done for myself, ever in life. I recommend it for everybody. But red flag yourself that if, again, you grew up in a household where they were telling you this is something you don't do, this is something we don't do, that's probably especially why you need to go. Because there was a reason why people were saying we don't go talk and tell everybody our business, because there was some trauma. Okay. So, you know, like I said, I recommended. One of my homies, a black male, told me he went, and it was a great experience. One of my best friends went. And I'm telling you guys straight up and down, from me to you, I have gone. If you know me, if you don't know me, if you follow me, if you think I got any bit of sense, I'm telling you, I've gone. And it has been amazing. I highly recommend it for everybody. Okay? Everybody. So, video 1.